Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, chewing the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, folks. I stumbled across this, I guess accidentally, because every time I get ready to go on a flight to go where I got to go perform the night before, I go through Amazon Prime, I go through iTunes, Netflix, and I look for things to download to watch. I stumbled up on this movie called Dragged Across the Concrete with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. I'm a Mel fan. I'm a Vince fan. The two of them together? What? So, and this looks like it was on some dramatic shit. Wasn't no comedy. So I ran across this movie. Yo, I gotta see this movie, yo. Dragged Across Concrete. It's about Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn play two cops who get caught kind of abusing and mishandling a suspect. And they get suspended for about a month and a half. And Mel's at this point in his life where he's in his 60s. He's pushing 60. He lives in a bad neighborhood, doesn't make a lot of money. His wife has MS. His daughter's being harassed by some neighborhood niggas.
First 10 minutes, man.
Sorry. So Mel wants to get his wife better, put his wife in a better circumstance. Wants to get his daughter out of harm's way. So he decides, neighborhood niggas, right? So he decides to rob, like a drug dealer, right? Because I said he was a drug kingpin.
They thought they were going to be robbing. He called in a favor, so not a it wasn't an actual favor, but he called in a note, and he was supposed to know about somebody's illegal activities, which I think he assumed was going to be drugs.
Right. So he's basically trying to rob
drug money.
So he's trying to rob these drug dealers of drug money to put himself in a better circumstance, and everything goes awry. Dude, this movie, I told Andy, there's this one particular scene which we'll discuss. I don't have a whole lot of notes on this, but it was enough for me to want to beg Andy to watch it so we could discuss a few things. One thing in particular, everything goes awry, and it's dude, these three guys, these three bank robbers, how brutal was the shit they was doing?
That was brutal, but that group is an intense. They almost made them seem like they weren't. They were foreign though, wasn't the one?
Yeah, they kind of had accents. And shit.
This was like a crime syndicate. People is what it turned out to be, not drug dealers, like crime syndicate.
Right.
And this is one.
Like they ended up robbing a bank for money and gold bullion.
Yeah. There's a lot of movies that are mixed into this movie.
But dude, the one girl who they show, who works at the bank, who just came back because she just had a baby. And when the guys go in to rob the bank, and they're very, look, they don't fuck around, man. They basically tell you, if you don't do what the fuck we tell you, we're going to blow your whole head off. And this one dude who worked at the bank started typing in on his computer or whatever to send an SOS for help to alert the police. But of course, he didn't finish typing. He typed the message. He was just telling her, as she was told to handcuff everybody, hit send. And she was like, let's just do what these motherfuckers say. So he goes to hit send. She tries to stop him. And with these machine guns, they blow her whole hand off.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't enough, she's on the fucking ground with one hand missing. Why are you laughing, dude?
Because go ahead. I want you to tell your part, and then I'm going to talk about it.
And then she grabs, what they call that, a baby boot?
A baby booty.
A baby booty. And she says to the guy, "This is for my son. Please tell him that I love." And then they blow, dude. They blow this broad's whole face off,
Her whole head.
and it was so graphic. And I was just like, Jesus Christ! You never wanted to see these motherfuckers get what's coming to them more.
Listen, okay, because I have to.
No, go ahead.
This movie, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Aries really liked this movie. It's a shitty movie, okay?
You thought it was shitty?
It's a shitty movie. It's a terrible movie. But if you like movies that are bad, this is the good.
Why'd you think it was shitty?
It's a good bad movie.
Why'd you think it was shitty?
It's a good bad movie. Because
Listen, I'm not saying for the record, I thought it was great. Was it? And listen, once upon a time ago, Mel Gibson, Vince Vaughn, that's a Hollywood release in theaters.
Yeah.
But now because of streaming, a lot of big name stars, even though Mel don't have the cachet he used to, a younger prime Mel, but even if he did, Will Smith did a movie that went straight to Netflix.
Yeah.
So that's a thing now.
yeah, I'm not complaining.
Here's what I'm saying. Was this theatrical release in the theaters good? No. But for Netflix?
It's a shitty movie, man. Here's the thing. Vince Vaughn is in it in name, and his face is in it. No Vince Vaughn, no Vince Vaughn-isms, no Vince snappy Vince.
But most of the Vince Vaughn-isms is comedy.
I know, but there still could have been some Vince Vaughn. There was no smooth Vince. This was like...
I didn't mind that at all. It was a serious role.
I understand that. The head blowing off, it looked very campy. It looked like it was in one of those... trauma films, like the head just 1 second, and you hear a gunshot, 2 bullets, and then there's a head just explosion, and the head disappears. The hand falls off. Listen, I'm not knocking this. I'm not saying it's not worth seeing. I honestly believe it's worth seeing, but some of the parts that you're picking out to talk about, to me, it was just I'm laughing at it because it was so.
All right, well, then
it was so not. The way our you know what? Here's the best way to say it. If you want to go back to some old school technology before we had CGI and the way we could do things, do this movie. Because this movie is bare bones.
Well, I will say this. When he shot the hand off, it did look like the sleeve was over there.
This looks like, I'm going to be honest, this movie looked like they made the movie, they cut the movie, or they got the financing for the movie, and then they were going to go back in editing, and they were going to do a bunch of things in post, and then it never happened. Because even the editing in this movie, the way the storylines, and this is, you're going to have to be honest with this, the storylines don't blend. They're all separate storylines, and then at the very end, they all come together. But usually, there's like a weave so that you, like all these,
I didn't get that.
Her storyline doesn't come up until...
The woman that got shot.
Yeah, until and she happens to be the cop that was in Dexter.
Yes, the sister.
So... but her storyline, all of a sudden, this woman just appears. She can't get on the bus, and then she's not. You don't see her anywhere before. She can't get on the bus. She goes back home. Then she goes to work. She gets killed. That's her storyline, and there was no weaving in there. There was no like, hey, make this part of the movie. It just we need this so she can. And the way she holds up the booty.
Here's another thing. Well, let me go back to that. I have a hard time believing. When you get your whole hand shot off, you are not in the most excruciating pain where you are just, first of all, doesn't shock set in? I mean, she bypassed shock. She bypassed horrid pain, screaming. Your whole hand just got blown off. And you have enough in you to go, this is my, what'd you call it, a baby?
Baby booty.
This is my baby booty. Please tell me.
It has a little bit of blood on it.
Look, kid, please give this to my son. And they just blow her head off before she can even finish saying it.
They're killing you, but they're going to someone's going to get that baby booty to your kid. And that's what the kid wants to remember his mom, this little bloody baby booty. Listen, all I'm saying is I like the story and it gets good, but dude, the first like half an hour, I had to watch it twice. I didn't get past the first 45 minutes because the first 30, 40 minutes, it's dialogue. It's all dialogue. It's dialogue. These guys talking. And with no Vince Vaughn-isms, no quick-witted Vince Vaughn.
But that would have took you out of the
No,
the
you
drama.
just have fucking, what's his name? Mel Gibson. the chances of this video going viral is about 12%. Everything is a percentage.
I thought you would like the numbers. He was throwing out numbers.
And even Vince Vaughn. The only part I really liked about that whole thing is Vince Vaughn. No more numbers.
Right.
No more numbers. It's just Mel Gibson's character, for some reason, always gives a percentage of what the survival rate or what's going in or whether it's going to work out or not. But it's like, that guy that's a friend of yours that every time you ask him a question, he just gives you some random percentage numbers that's based off nothing other than his opinion of nothing. Just, I think it's 75%. What is the chances that, like, if you ask me right now, tonight the Suns are playing, what's the chance the Suns playing?
Right.
88%, man. I like, how do I don't have any reason for it. I just give you these numbers. So this is their characters. And the scene that they get in trouble for, that they lost six weeks and it's not a big deal. Dude, that would not get a cop in trouble at all. What that scene that they showed where he just has...
He has his foot on his neck.
Yeah.
And then he handcuffs his ankle to the banister.
Yeah, but he has to keep him there. So I say today, what you see going on that's wrong when they get caught.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because there's cops killing niggas that don't get in trouble.
So
Right.
this having and from the vantage point that you could see the way they did it, it's on his shoulder, it's on his back holding
They
him
had
down.
Don Johnson as the boss.
Yeah, Don John. That's another person who's in the. I think dude, they
got some respectable motherfuckers in this.
Here's how this happened. Someone wrote this script, and it's not a bad script. It could have been a lot better. It could have been the movie could have been different. I think that they got a script, and they said, "Hey, man," they said to somebody like Vince Vaughn, "Hey, man, like, I got this script. I can get this movie done. I need your name, and I can get a few guys paid. We can all make about." A few $1 million on this movie, and they went. Let me look at my schedule. You know what I could do? Can we get this done in 36 hours? Yeah, I think we can get this done in 36 hours. All right, let's do this. And then they went and did it, and then they said, "Hey, we got this one spot for a boss. We need a producer on this. We need an executive producer to get us some more. Get it out some more." Yeah, I know Don Johnson. Do you think he'll play this part? Yeah, for X amount of dollars. Okay, we'll get him that part, and that's it. That's how this movie got made.
Okay, before we get to my little couple notes, let me just ask you: outside of Hugh Jackman, can you see either a young Clint Eastwood or a Mel Gibson the way he looks now, pulling off Wolverine?
No.
The way Mel looks right now, you put a cigar in his mouth and them claws, he is Wolverine, man.
You know
that
what?
rough, gruff Mel, angry.
Hugh Jackman just so embodied that role. I can't imagine him doing it.
I so could see Mel Gibson right now.
I guess with his look.
With his look and that gruff, angry, racist smell. Yes.
I can't picture my Wolverine going, "Yo, sweet tits."
Running with a pack of niggas. Hope you get raped by a pack of niggas. Matter of fact, Steve, when I do the pack of niggas line, throw in the doo-doo, throw in the Lethal Weapon music. So I just gave you that direction, Steve. Coming out of that in 3, 2, 1. How about a spaghetti western Clint Eastwood? A young Clint Eastwood. That with the Dirty Harry face?
Yeah, a young Clint Eastwood. Yeah, definitely. I could see a young Clint Eastwood playing the part.
And in those spaghetti westerns, he always smoked that little cigar. So picture a young Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry face, that cigar, and them claws.
Yeah, there's a Clint Eastwood movie. Hold on, I'm going to get this one. I'm not going to lose this one. It's damn it!
Give me clues.
Mario Van Peebles in it.
Oh,
Heartbreak Ridge.
I definitely don't know that.
He plays this colonel. Not a colonel. I don't know if it's colonel. He plays a sergeant. I don't know what he's playing. It's Clint Eastwood.
Right.
It's a really fun. It's a good like peacetime war movie. And it's Clint Eastwood, and he has the cigar and the whole look that you're talking about.
Yeah, I so see a young Clint Eastwood in his prime. He's Wolverine.
And Mario Van Peebles plays the Ayatollah of rock and rolla.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible movie just based on that.
They're Marines, and it's worth watching. You check. I watched this thing. You watched that.
Okay,
one.
what's it called?
Heartbreak Ridge.
I'll check it out.
And
Now
Clint
let's
Eastwood.
get back to this.
Yeah. But this, I want you to know, I'm glad I saw this, and I would recommend people watching this movie. There's a lot to it.
Okay, there's Michael Jai White is in this, and he, along with the lead black guy in this story, I forget how they're associated with these bank robbers, but they've been hired to drive this bulletproof van to rob this bank, and they both see how brutal these three killers are.
Well, they realize that the only way that this works is they're executed at the end of this robbery.
Yes.
Too. Yeah.
So there's a moment where they're driving to where they're driving to after the robbery, and Mike Jai White is shook. He's visibly shook. He's crying. His voice is breaking. He's scared. And his boy is trying to get him out of it by bringing up childhood memories. And I'm watching this going, did you know how hilarious this is? That Mike Jai White is playing someone who's scared and crying. Do you know that Michael Jai White in real life will murder you with his bare fucking hands? Do you know who Michael Jai White is?
I know who he is, but
you know he's like a 10-time master at martial arts.
Yeah.
He's a bad motherfucker. There's a clip of him on Vlad, and he says to Vlad, as serious as he could be, listen, man, I'm not trying to be cocky, but I could kill you without a gun. Like Mike Jai White could murder you. Joe Rogan, who's a bad motherfucker, and the MMA and all that shit. You ever see the footage of Joe Rogan doing roundhouse kicks?
Yeah.
On the heavy bag? Joe can fight.
Yeah.
Joe's a bad boy. Joe Rogan was like, yo, Mike Jai White is not to be fucked with.
yeah.
I don't know if I ever said this on the podcast, but this tattoo on the back of my tricep here, my girlfriend, first girlfriend, L.A., Julie, 4 years. We broke up, and she started fucking with somebody new. And, you know, I'm young, 20s, I'm in my jealous bullshit. Fuck is this nigga? You fucking. Let me see this nigga. Mike Jai White. I wasn't going to do a goddamn thing, man. So I thought that was funny.
What a way, like, to have all your arrogance and then go, oh yeah, enjoy that pussy.
That's all you, Mike. You got it, Mike. While you fucking her in the missionary, you need me to help pump your ass. Now I know sometimes part of why you laugh is the ridiculous. Tell me this wasn't a moment of pure suspension beyond disbelief. And I know it's going to sound like a weird question, but have you ever in your life swallowed anything purposely that you weren't supposed to? Have you ever in your life done that?
Yeah.
When I was 12, just because I was curious, I swallowed a penny just to see. And I was scared to death because when it went down uncomfortably, I thought I was going to die. There's a scene in this movie where there's a key that they need to open the garage for the getaway vehicle when they switch from the bulletproof van to this new vehicle. And if you look at a regular house key, just a small regular house key, that's dangerous if you think you're going to swallow that. The base handle of this fucking key was about the size of $50.
It was a big square.
Big square. This nigga swallows this key with ease, and while he swallows it, and he's basically telling the robbers, fuck you. Now get the key, motherfucker. And they pop, and they shoot him in the legs. And I think he took a shot also to the stomach or something.
Yeah, he did.
And it causes him to throw up. So he throws the key up, and within seconds, swallows it again. He wipes the vomit off it, the spit, and swallows it. Get the fuck out of here, yo.
So, okay.
And he swallows it without a choke, without a nothing.
Here's my question, though, on this one. This was the one that made me laugh.
Right.
Because this is when I started to like the show even more, because, you know, there's no action until this point, really.
Yeah.
There's a little bit when the girl
brutal
gets
shit, yeah.
gets her head blown off. But you're standing there with the key, and you know you're going to swallow it because you want to keep them from it. And it's a forest around them. Like there's all.
Why not just throw
the fucking key into the forest as far as you can? They're not going to go find it.
Right.
And the other dude is out there with the gun anyway, so that's why they're not looking for the other key.
Right.
It's very complicated. So why not just throw the key? Because they had to get to the scene, the brutal scene.
With the key?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Now this one had to get you.
Here we go.
This is also why I'm laughing at these scenes, because I know what it's doing to you.
If you think I had a problem with the boys, there's one point where they go, yo, get Mike Jai White's dead body in here. We're going to get this key. And with a fucking Rambo combat-sized knife, they cut this nigga's stomach open. And they're shifting around his organs to find this key. And it's graphic. And I'm telling you, dude, the whole time, I'm not watching, but I'm hearing, but my face is this way. And at one point, one of the guys goes, whatever you do, don't puncture the liver. That fucking smell is horrendous, especially on black guys. What the fuck does that mean? Okay,
I was going to ask you about it if you didn't bring him, but let me ask you this question. What is this? There was this undertone of racism throughout the whole movie.
Dude!
The white woman goes, I never thought I was a racist or wouldn't like black people until we moved into this neighborhood. There's all these little...
Well, listen, in her defense, most people, when they are put under duress, you go with your gut at the time of emotion. And the black dude amongst the four black dudes, the neighborhood niggas, harassed their daughter and poured soda on her head. So that reaction doesn't surprise me.
And it's been happening over and over. But still, that's not going to make you hate black people.
Hey, man.
You might hate those neighborhood kids. My mom has never said, I've heard my mom say, I hate these neighborhood kids. They're coming over here fucking up my backyard or doing, they broke some boards on her fence. I never heard her say, I hate these black kids coming over. She never put any of that on it. This was written to be a certain way.
That's not a far-fetched to me.
Yeah,
that's
but
not
that,
far-fetched.
The Mexican guy and then the Don Johnson's character, well, it's not a big deal. We're going to, like everything that was like this, there was this little racist undertone in the whole in the movie.
Well, before we get to the creme de la creme, I want to go back to that. Have you heard anything at all about a black guy's liver smell being different than a white guy's liver smell? What the fuck did that come from? That's got to be based on some scientific evidence. Why would he say that? Yeah, whatever you do, don't puncture the liver. That fucking smell is horrendous, especially from black guys.
Do black people's livers smell different than white people's livers? Let's see what Google has to say about this.
Google gonna say, based on the amount of Popeye's chicken grease and fried foods, niggas have a galactic smell.
Let's see. Apparently there is some...
No!
Let's see. Previously, findings from our laboratories highlighted... They went to the laboratory for this, highlighted and marked ethnic differences in volatile organ compounds from words I cannot say among individuals of Caucasian...
Wait. Words you can't say, or they say that?
No, words I can't say, like I can't pronounce it.
Oh.
But it's like a serum. It's something in your body. But let's see. Among individuals of Caucasian, Eastern Asian, African descent based. It's part of genetic differences in genes, the code for the transportation of proteins, which members of whatever. So basically, yes, they are saying that there's different odors from those obtained from individuals European or African descent based on patterns of ethnic diversity that exit. Now they're doing all these ABCC1s.
Wow.
So they're using a gas chromatograph, which I haven't heard of, mass spectrometry, since I listened to my cousin Vinny, and that's how they were able to tell the tires. So apparently there is. I did hear somebody say that Asians... God, I don't want to get into the. I want to be careful how I say this because I want to say it there. That Asians are have problems with the smell of Americans in general. Like we have more odor. And when I shouldn't say Asians. People Japanese.
You've already started.
Japanese and Chinese.
Okay,
is what I heard because they have less odor than we do.
Because of diet or something?
Diet, whatever those gas chromatographs things we're picking up in our ethnic diversities have less odor, so they're more sensitive to it, and they can smell. We're more odorous, and in America, black people have more odor than white people, but within a small amount. Like me and you aren't ever going to notice the difference, but the Asians can tell. People descendants from like China and from Japan, they pick that up because they don't have that same odor. You know, you get accustomed to the odors that we have. They don't have those odors. So there must be something to what they're saying, and Google just said it is too. Okay. And then I just saw this thing about that. There was this video online of this. I believe it was a Japanese person on a train, and a black person sat next to him, and they covered up their nose, and that's where there's this whole video that I saw about it.
Okay, here's the creme de la creme.
So yes, you stink, man.
Okay, so here's the creme de la creme. At one point, after Mel basically single-handedly takes out all three of these bank robbers, the black guy who went off into the woods and him have a face-off. And they both shoot at each other. I think they both missed or something.
Yeah, they grabbed each other, so the guns go off.
Right, the guns go off.
But they're too close, so they go off directions.
So they have a little bit of a tussle, and they both find themselves laying on the ground facing each other. And the black guy looks at Mel and goes, "Nigga." And Mel goes, "Likewise." Please tell me, that felt so forced. Like, and it brought me back to when Mel had the incident, the drunken incident, and he went on his anti-Semitic rant. He's black people niggers.
Sweet tits.
It felt like Mel just wanted to go I'll do the movie, but put that in.
I don't think so, because when you watch it, it made me laugh because I was already laughing.
It didn't feel out of place.
No,
why did the black guy look at him and just go, "Nigga"? That didn't feel like there was a.
Oh, like that was necessary in the whole scene. Oh yeah, but no, because dude, listen to how you use it. You get in a big fight, you're looking at each other, you're breathing hard. What are you going to say to the person sitting across from you?
Nothing, because I'm breathing hard. Saying a goddamn thing.
Okay, maybe. I didn't feel like it was out of place for this kind of movie, especially since there's this racial undertone in it anyway. And then for him to go, "Likewise."
I was like, whoa.
I was like, what else would he say? Because I thought it was so funny because it was like, we're having this movie. People are getting blown up. You're on suspension because you were stepping on this Hispanic dude. And so you get in that, and that's where your politeness comes out. Instead of calling
Likewise.
Likewise. Dude, I'm telling you, this movie is as funny as it is gory, and it is the suspense. The suspense does build eventually. I mean, we're in this scene. There's some good scenes. The battle where over the van.
And listen, on the way to the new car, the new vehicle, they take a hostage from the bank. This lady, and at one point, again, these motherfuckers are brutal and don't give a fuck. You get the feeling, based on how they are, they will kill you if you blink wrong. She goes, "I gotta go to the bathroom." So the dude takes the same knife that he uses to cut open Mike Jai White's stomach and slits her skirt, cuts her panties off, then takes her panties and a newspaper and shoves them up her pussy and tells her, "Go ahead, urinate." And then tells the black dude, "Hey, come clean this piss." And at the end, when they're having the shootout with Mel and Vince, they let her go. And she crawls from the van to where they are behind the car where they have cover. And she shoots Vince, causing Mel to then shoot her. Why did she shoot Vince? She was in safety. She got away from them.
Because they were going to come out and kill her.
But she was already behind the car with them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like this stupid bitch.
Because they let her piss. I don't know why. She was in cover, but I think that she assumed that they were going to come out and kill them all anyway. The way she was going to live, they convinced her the only way that she was going to live is if she killed them.
That didn't make sense.
It didn't make any sense. Again, there's some holes in that, but I mean, if you're freaked out enough, she didn't have to kill. She could
not at all.
But she was afraid with their weaponry and the fact that they couldn't penetrate because they've been firing at the van. They can't penetrate the van. That they're gonna win. They're eventually gonna win. But I don't understand why people think they're gonna live.
What do you mean?
They took the hostages. You saw them. I guess you see some people live at the bank, so you think you have a chance if you do what they're going to say, they're going to live. Right. But they're pretty brutal. I don't think that you're going to live. The guys figured out that they're not going to make it. So yeah, it's not a fully fleshed out project.
Dragged across concrete, people.
It's worth seeing.
Check it out, man,
and send us. Send us some emails on this. You know what I think we should do, though, Aries? Honestly, we still have some $10 a lot of money shirts. What I think we should do is people should start sending in the date of the episode in the future. Pick a date of and what
they said?
No, what time in our episode that you or I break the first rule of foul language that isn't YouTube, because we've been trying to stay 10 minutes clean is what we're supposed to do.
I totally forgot that.
I know, but I think they should send it in, and you pick a time where we break that, and Aries either says the N-word or I say motherfucker, and we see where and whoever gets if they get that time exactly, we send them a free shirt.
Okay.
So if you send an email, put a time that you think that
the Jew in me is going to make sure I'm clean for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it has to be within the first 10.
Yeah. Okay. I know this might seem old, but I had told Andy once upon a time ago that I had watched this movie, and maybe we keep it in the podcast Rolodex in case we ever need something to talk about. And then I remember, I think we were in, where were we? I want to say Columbus, but I don't know. We were somewhere on the road, and you told me you finally watched the movie.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, you dug it.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to like it.
I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston movie.
Yeah. Which I think we should call this episode, I Want to Dance on Concrete.
I want to dance on concrete. Right. That's funny. It was always rumored in real life that Whitney and Robin had a relationship, a lesbian relationship. Why did they make Whitney out to be gay from jump? They made her out to be like this raging lesbian from the gate. And that was always rumored. It was always flirted with the idea that her and Robin were a thing. They made it flat out like they were a couple.
Well, there's a few reasons. One, I didn't think they made it like she was this raging lesbian. They made her, she was very comfortable with this, with her girlfriend. But I think that we're in a time where this is to be celebrated and amplified if it's not celebrated. Because at the time, if that was true, and I'm not, because of how you're stating this, if it's true, and the movie is saying that it's true, it wasn't able to be celebrated, so they're amplifying it for the celebration purposes of putting it out there.
Yeah, but it was always speculative. It felt like they were pushing that narrative way too hard, too early. Well, it was always speculative.
They knew each other before she was famous, so
yeah.
So don't you think that relationship could have bloomed earlier than?
This is one of those where you wish that Whitney was alive to either give her blessing on this movie or not, because I have a gut feeling that if she was alive, she wouldn't have signed off on that.
Well, what does her girl say?
Who?
Her lover and her lover.
Robin ain't got in real life.
Yeah, in real life,
she ain't got no say.
No, but have anybody interviewed her and asked her?
I've never heard her come out and say anything.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know, but like I said to you, they made it sound like this movie, like she could have lived a much happier life if she could have just been the singing lesbian she wanted to be. Is how they made the movie feel a little bit.
But it also came off very much so in the movie and in real life. Whitney liked men.
Yeah, I think she.
Hence, Bobby, she dated Eddie Murphy at one point.
I think you were allowed to be bisexual. You can like men and women.
I thought Stanley Tucci was perfect as Clive Davis.
Dude, Stanley Tucci is one of those underrated actors because he never plays the lead. He was in Devil's Wear Prada where he was amazing, and he was in
He's in one of my favorite movies, The Core.
the Core.
Yeah, it's one of those end of the world movies
Okay, I don't remember that.
with Delroy Lindo.
Okay, I think I do know which one movie you're talking about.
Always get this guy fucked up, but that's not who he is.
He's in a movie called The Big Night. It's about two brothers that have a restaurant, and this food critics coming in. And it's a really good movie. It's a very simple
It's called
movie.
The Big Night.
The Big Night.
I thought that was about an 8-foot African nigga.
No, it's a really good movie. Stanley Tucci's a really good actor. He doesn't get that kind of credit.
Right. Greatest love of all in the movie is not being lip synced. And clearly this actress, and most of the singing moments with her as Whitney were lip synced. But for whatever reason, when she sang The Greatest Love of All, it wasn't lip synced. And the lady who plays Whitney, she actually can sing a little bit. You could tell. But this was a major no for me. We're talking about Whitney Houston, the greatest female vocalist of all time. Outside of I Will Always Love You, I think the greatest love of all probably has to be the biggest Whitney Houston song ever. And you're not going to have this girl lip sync this? You're going to try to have someone who isn't Whitney sing this song? No, that's a big no for me.
How do you say her name? Let's see. Where's she? Right there. Two old guys that I need a new prescription.
Naomi Ackie.
Ackie?
Oh, wait. Born in 1991 in Camden, London, England, UK. Oh, these motherfuckers is taking the jobs, baby. And Whitney was from Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. And Whitney was, listen, as classy as Whitney was, and I believe she was groomed that way early on by Clive Davis and the record company. Whitney's from Brick City, man. Newark, New Jersey. Whitney was hood. And they got,
That you or me?
I'm playing Whitney Houston. Was this the part where I say the greatest love of all? The fuck out of here. But nah, she did a good job, but how do you have,
She did a good job, but she does not embody Whitney. I'm sorry. Like
physically?
She didn't, her face, Whitney, there was something about Whitney.
Let me tell you something. Whitney Houston, to me, facially, was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. But I like meat. Whitney was bony.
She was very thin, but her face, she was so...
She was beautiful in the face.
When you see her, there's something about her that... It's not just the beauty you capture. Nothing against this other the person playing it. I didn't get Whitney from her the same way. And yeah, but I like this movie, dude. I really like the movie because you think the movie.
You liked it better than Dragged Across the Concrete.
Dragged Across the Concrete is going to be. I'm going to put that close to a trauma film. Trauma. If you don't know, Trauma is the Toxic Avenger, and I think. Were they the ones who did Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? I don't know if they're that trauma film, but trauma films.
Right.
But I thought the movie was good. I got a little, I didn't realize her life was as... I didn't know her success brought her as much pain as it did. I knew it did at the end, but I was amongst...
Do you think it was the success or the drugs?
The drugs, but you have the money and the ability to get those drugs because of that. And, this is the hardest part. It's easy to become addicted to drugs. You got to get them. But you can't get them the same way you can when you're famous. You can't get the access. You can't get the amount. You can't get... And then, if you want to get off drugs, people still want to party with you. They want to hang out with you, and they still bring you shit. I have someone that I care about in this comedy game, And I watch people they try to protect themselves, but if they don't have someone that's actually at the door, but that has to change their whole way of life. Everybody wants to come hang out. Let's party. Let's.
When you
do
say
this.
someone at the door, you mean somebody stop him?
Stop him
To be the buffer?
To be like, nah, he ain't doing that anymore.
Mac Mittens.
You got to have that.
Gotta have a Mac Mittens.
But you have to want it though too, because you have to change your lifestyle. And it's not. There are some people really. They just can't do that. They can't make that leap. So I mean, I don't know her whole story, but it didn't seem like she started out when she was doing drugs. I mean, she did drugs, but again, there's a difference when you do drugs, and you had them when you were available to you, but then to have them constantly available to you, and then to use them to fix whatever, to help relieve your pain or your anguish or your stress. I don't know, man. I think you just have more access to it when you have more fame, more money.
During the Star Spangled Banner, and listen, there are these iconic moments that we know and we recognize and we've experienced with these artists. And whether it's anytime you do a biopic, be it sports figure, singer, whatever, there are these iconic moments that you hope that the movie captures. And when they, of course, show her singing the Star Spangled Banner, remember how, like, when we saw Air, they cut to actual footage of Jordan? Yeah. I wish they would have cut to actual footage of men crying. Because remember, when she sang the Star Spangled Banner, for real, they cut to grown men crying. Now, maybe that's a small detail that, some people might go, so what? That adds to the power of Whitney Houston.
It does.
And I think you need to show that, to really show how incredible this woman was.
Her voice was so amazing.
The voice of an angel.
It is my favorite. The national anthem. For moving people. She's the only. I know that other people are going to say Marvin Gaye sang it. That's their number one. But the way she moved people, the way she did it at a stadium.
Right.
The way everything was set, a stadium isn't conducive to have a moment where you're tearing up and listening to a song.
Right.
She did it in a stadium where
open,
and it just her voice. They showed the planes flying over when
right.
they didn't. Who remembers the planes flying over?
Well, no. Let me say this. There was two things that were happening. You felt a sense of strong pride and patriotism.
Yep.
Because you got the flag.
Yeah.
You got her rendition, which is so beautiful. Then you got the fighter jets. That was one of those, I'm proud to be an American
moment.
God damn it. But for me, more so than that, yeah, I don't want to make that seem like that's nothing. Okay, yeah, proud to be American, got it. But I'm also going, that's us.
Yeah.
She's us. And when I say us, I mean black people.
Yeah.
She comes from, look what we are. Look who we are. Look what we do. So while you got grown white men and women, but particularly white men crying, that's black folk doing that.
No,
that's a proud moment for me as a black person.
I'll take it.
She represents us like that.
Keep it on that same level. When I'm looking at that, me being who I am, I'm not saying that I'm anybody different or anybody special, but I'm like, that black woman represents me. That means that's my America.
And listen, I know that there are some people that will hear me say that and go, why you gotta race it? Why you gotta make it about race? It's about everybody. Yeah, it is. Thus the patriotism, proud to be an American. But I gotta say, given what this history's country has been with us, that is a proud moment within our community. Let us have that moment.
You deserve that moment. And I think that white people in this country at that moment should have said that alongside of what you're saying, you should get every bit of that credit where you get to go. It's a black woman up there.
Because for everything that you will show about us negatively,
yep.
Look at the beauty that woman encompasses.
Look
at the goosebumps she's giving you. Look at the grown white men crying because of how beautiful and how angelic her voice is. She represents us.
Because the black community has been denied so much in the past and still, I'm not trying to say it's not being denied anything today, but it has been denied so much, even more so in the past. At that moment, you have every right to separate it and go, that's a black woman up there. That's a black woman. And then as a white person, you have to go, that represents me. That's a black woman representing me. Take that into account. Put that in your brain. You're represented by a multitude of different people in this country because that's what America is. And to me, when she was up there singing it, better than anyone has ever sung the national anthem to me, that says what America is to me. Because that's the moment when you go, that's America.
That's why I got to go back to what you just said. And listen, in terms of musical power and ability, between the two, yes, Whitney, number one. But that Marvin Gaye rendition, and this is where I got to go again. This is us. That's soul.
Yeah, that's
soul. That's Marvin. And I remember I was watching, because in L.A., we have Spectrum Cable, and they'll do these things. The top 10 Laker moments, Kobe moments, the top 10 Magic moments. And they were talking about the top 10 Forum moments. And that was in the top 10. And they said that somebody had went to Jerry Buss and was angry and was like, Mr. Apologetic, Mr. Buss, I'm sorry. I didn't know he was going to sing it that way. He's butchering the ant. Jerry Buss went, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. That Marvin Gaye soul, that's black folk. And the way he sang that bitch, who else can do that?
No one. No. But that's why I'm not denying that it's greatness.
Right.
I'm just saying the way Whitney did it, in the obstacles to do that,
right,
to put that together when it's not about, they sing the national anthem, but it's about the football game. That's what these people are there for. And you see people crying. You feel that. I like what you just said, a patriotic feeling. People are. It's today, right now. If you ask people if they're proud to be an American, people are going to say no. The percentage is higher that you're going to get a no than a yes right now. And the problem with it's how do we fix something if you don't even want to be it? The way you fix it is because you want to fix what you love. You don't fix what you don't care about. So if you don't want this, how is it ever going to get better? So that's my problem in it. And those moments, like that Whitney moment, that's the moment where you all go, yeah, let's fucking
and listen,
make it better.
Let's not bullshit each other. There are white people that get upset that we're not singing the anthem in the traditional sense. There's some white people that get upset that Marvin sang that like that. That black people, when we sing the anthem, we gotta put all the riffs and all the, just sing the fucking song. But that ain't.
First of all, there is no national anthem singing style because it was a poem. It wasn't a song. It was a poem. So the poem is up to interpretation of how you want to play it. And everybody should have a right to sing the national anthem any way that they want to. That's the poem. Now, let's be real honest about the poem. The poem isn't pro-black. So if black people are going to take that poem and they're going to sing it, I think you get to sing it any way that you want to sing it.
Hello.
It is the third stanza, and the third stanza has never been part of the national anthem that we sing as we know it today. So I don't have a problem with it because that's what it is. I know some black people will be upset with it. Other people know what I'm saying. That's never been part of the prejudice part of that song, of the poem. The way that we sing it isn't that. But then when you put someone like Whitney's voice on it, when you put Marvin Gaye's voice on it, when you put a voice on it like that, that only amplifies what America is. And if you have a problem with that, you're anti-American as far as I'm concerned.
Tommy Davidson has that great bit when he talks about how black people be extra with everything, especially, and he does the anthem, and he does that part where he goes, oh, say, I can't do it like Tommy does it, but he's singing it. Oh, say, can you see? I'm talking 20/20 vision. but how black people just add and spice the shit. But yes, I wish they would have just cut to some of that.
I wish they would have too, because that would have been nice, especially. And they do that in those docudramas too, where they cut and they show the audience, because that really does bring you into the moment.
Yeah.
But dude, that to me is powerful. But again, I didn't realize how much Whitney took from the fact that to the black community, she was singing white. I didn't realize that until I watched this movie.
I didn't either.
I thought that she was...
But see, that goes back to, like I said, while black people, we can be each other's biggest supporters, we could also be each other's biggest haters. Like what we talked about with the Foreman thing.
Yeah.
Him catching flack within his own community. Michael Jordan, black people going, he don't do shit for black people, which, again, is bullshit. Barack ain't do nothing for black people. Like, niggas, you can't make us happy. It's never enough.
But we also have to realize that not any one person or one group, one person represents any part of a whole group. And there has to be diversity within the group itself. So it's important because of that. But then we have to realize all groups are that way, that there is diversity amongst the groups.
But listen, it's the whole not black enough. We know the difference between soft shoeing, selling out, kowtowing, Uncle Tomming, even though we know the history about the Uncle Tom thing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus someone who is legit black, but in other words, when you go not black enough, okay, we know the ghetto is a part of black. We know street and hood is a part of black. But so is sophistication. So is eloquence. So is intelligence. And some black people only see black as one way. Hood, ghetto, keeping it real, the streets. And they think that anything beyond that or greater than that or something that they can't comprehend is selling out. We know what selling out is. Selling out is very specific. We know what selling out is. Candace Owens, Pastor Mark Burns, Sheriff Clark, Diamond and Silk. We know what that is. Whitney singing white, that label, because she sounds like no other, because she's able to, gather a white fan base, because she can be mainstream. That's not what we're talking about. That's not the same thing as selling out.
Well, this is also before, I would say, that the black culture crossed over.
Nigga, you read? Man, you a sellout.
But the black culture crossing over now, I don't think that I don't think if someone like Whitney hit today, they would probably have that same experience, because the culture has crossed over where it's just part of the culture. I know black people want to have, when they hear white people say the culture, it's an issue, but the culture's crossed over. So the black culture is weaved in to just regular white culture too. It's part of American culture.
Right.
But isn't that the way that we all become together? I'm asking on this one because this is confusing to me, because that's one of the things about how when you say being accepted, having your respect, when your culture becomes part of the culture, then it's all part of the same, the acceptance, being known for who you are. And then when you do it better than other people do it, how is that not, and I may be off on this, how is that not leveling that playing field, making that respect, the respect on what you do, what the culture is, what it is? I'm a little confused by that when I hear people say that.
Right. Yeah. It's like I said, it's a tricky, slippery slope because we always want to remain authentic to the neighborhood. We want to stay true to the neighborhood, but the neighborhood will also rob you.
Well, it's like what I said when we were in Naples.
Yeah.
Which is the richest area in the whole country, Naples, Florida.
Right.
I said no one ever gets their area code tattooed on their forearm from Naples.
Right.
Because it's not. You sometimes the goal is to become bigger than the neighborhood. I'm not saying that you have to forget the neighborhood, but it's to become worldly, to know what it's like to eat in Europe, what it's like to go to Africa, what it's
Right.
like to go to Trinidad, what it's like to go to Amsterdam. I mean, you want to know what it is to
Nigga, you
experience
got a
that.
passport? You leave your block? You leave your city? You go to other countries? Man, this nigga sell out. Culture? What you mean you cultured? That nigga sell out, man. Nigga ain't keeping it real. You ain't keeping it real, homie.
I honestly,
You got a vocabulary. Man, that nigga a sellout, man.
you might want to bring back Orange for that.
Orange, nigga. Nigga, you eat fruit, you eat oranges? This nigga think he better than us because he eat oranges. Cause did I ever show you the clip? I forget the rapper, female rapper. They ask her, what do you think Beyonce's influence is on the music business? She goes, her influence is Herge. She got a Herge influence. Herge. Nigga, you pronounce words right? You a sellout, nigga. You actually wear your pants at your waist? Man, this nigga sellout, B.
There is accents, though. People do have, there's inflections in different areas of the country that you go to.
I don't give a fuck what you trying to sell me on. When you pronounce huge, Herge. Nah, nigga, that ain't no accent, nigga. That is stupidness.
Yeah.
No, I come on, man. You can't sell. I know there's accents, like people from down south or Texas. They don't say oil. They say all. That's an accent. I got it, all. But Herge, there's no R in huge. How do you get Herge?
I don't know. I was putting in Howard Cosell's name the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Howard Cosell Ali, your influence is huge. The impact you've had on boxing has been huge. No, thank you. No sirve por gracias.
Why? See, this is where you become the Ari Spears, the problem. Why do you assume this is Mexican?
You know what? You're right. Nah, we don't need the keep right now. We having a Herge debate.
I'm sorry I said it. I'm sorry I brought it up.
All right. My last note on this. Man, sometimes they say it's always the people closest to you. Even on his deathbed, her dad, who she loved, was robbing her. Like, that's how evil money can be.
Well, as we talked about in the last episode, is it about the money? Is it about the money? And sometimes it becomes about the money, even in family. When you were saying that, would you be welcomed as a family, like when we were talking about it? But your family is one of your biggest risks when you're
Yeah.
And not all families, but it's a big risk. It is a big risk because no one. I think it must be hard. I don't know what it would be like to have someone that is at a level that you're not ever going to get to, but it's your brother or your sister that is in your same house,
right.
Same conditions, came up the same way,
right?
And they can go anywhere they want on their plane, do what they want to do, and you have your regular job. And some families, you see that balance, and it doesn't seem to affect them.
Right.
But other families, you just see that the hostility, the bruise, and not that it was hostile. He just thought he was supposed to be in charge of everything, and what she made was his.
And the crazy part was, here's a grown-ass woman, and he's talking to her like she's a child. Like she's still his child.
That's the control, though. That's what keeps the control going.
Damn. That's crazy.
You gotta...
because he sued her.
Yeah.
He's trying to sue her while he was dying. Nigga, if I was in the hospital and one of my family members was trying to sue me while they're dying, I'm pulling all the tubes.
But
I'm plugging all this shit.
But that's also goes to about ego, and that's what the ego wants.
Right.
And the ego wanted to, be able to take care of his women. You know what I mean? That's what he was paying. That's what he was doing with the money. But
he was using her money for side pussy.
But he was also so overly generous when he came back to the. You saw when he came back to the. This again is a movie. I don't know how much is true. And he's giving out credit cards. Use it wisely. Giving everybody in the company a credit card.
Right.
We all know that there's no way you're going to go give out your credit card tomorrow to the people in your life right now. Are you?
I might not be giving out the credit cards, but I'm giving out what the credit cards represent.
You're controlling it.
That's the illusion.
But you just can't. You can't go to someone and go, "Hey, do this." Use your best judgment.
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. But maybe people just hope for the best and think that money's going to run. But then to take your daughter, and I don't even care, the money, whatever, how. But your daughter's not healthy. She needs help, and then you go, I already figured it out. We're just going to put you on tour. We're going to put you on tour.
Yeah.
We're going to use you.
Yeah.
To get out of this hole I dug, and then to make me more money. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And no one's stepping in. No one's stopping it.
All right.
You didn't have anything on Bobby? You didn't like I know we got to get off this because we're almost done, but just on the Bobby character, did you have? Because I wasn't sold on it, but I wasn't angry with it.
When they did the New Edition BET TV show, that series, the dude who also is on Power playing Kane, he played Bobby. And I was so sold on him as Bobby. This dude was in Equalizer 2. He was in the most ridiculous scene, unrealistic scene ever. Remember, he's up there in the projects and the apartment with all the neighborhood niggas and the guns and the drugs, and Denzel comes in. Remember, he comes in and gets him out of there.
Oh, yeah,
Let's go, Miles.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then they go back downstairs, and he does a scene where Denzel pulls him in, and they're face to face. And he goes, he's talking shit to him. And none of them niggas with guns come down and confront that situation. But yeah, he was in that movie, and he's playing Bobby Brown.
All right.
Yeah.
But what do you give that movie?
The Whitney movie?
You want people to see it?
Yeah, I think it's a work. Oh, my last note. I gotta say this. How do you make this movie and you don't show Whitney singing "I Will Always Love You"? How do you leave that out of that movie? That is the pinnacle. I think that's her greatest song. That's the most celebrated song in her catalog. And I will always. That was sung. I don't know which one it is.
Sang song.
That was sang song.
That's a refrigerator.
Sang song.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a Japanese appliance.
I think it's actually Korean.
Is it really?
I think it is.
That song is, I think, held up there with, the Star Spangled Banner in terms of absolute beauty.
Yeah.
And you don't put that in a movie?
Maybe they couldn't afford. You have to pay for those songs. You can only put so many songs in the movie.
Well, then to dump the whole movie.
What did you think about the Kevin Costner lines? Like, there's no Kevin Costner in it, which is fine, but Kevin Costner wants you in the movie.
Right. Like, which is why I thought they were gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you think she needed Kevin Costner's validation?
No, but white. You know how you white people are. You've got to put your name on everything. You can't let niggas have it all. White people, you've got to put your name on shit.
Who was the white dude that was the guy who did the impressions, was always on Carson?
Rich Little.
If Rich Little would have been around to see you and go, Ari Spears, best one out there, would that meant something to you coming from Rich Little because he was so...
He's a legend in terms of that? Yeah.
So it's more about the legend status.
It's a respect, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. You're not who you are till that white man tells you who you are. That's how white power is, nigga. We tell you who you are, and you are that.
Dates. Let's get the dates real quick. Again, I'm giving this out now. We're going to be in Portland, Helium, Portland, May 25th to the 28th, followed by Cobb's Comedy Club, June 1st through the 3rd. Haven't been back in San Francisco in a while, so that's going to be kind of fun.
San Francisco.
Pittsburgh Improv, the 9th through the 11th of June.
Home of Burt Bridgewater.
And the Andy Warhol Museum, where I'm going to go to again this time.
Burt Bridgewater doesn't celebrate Andy Warhol.
He wouldn't.
I would never celebrate a homosexual. A real man takes an Andy Warhol piece into the bathroom with him, and when he takes a shit, he punches through the glass, takes the artwork, and wipes his ass with it.
It's so not cool, but DC Comedy Loft, June 15th through the 18th. And then I'm going back with Aries to Tempe Improv. I'm getting back to Arizona, and that's going to be June 23rd to the 25th. If you're in the area, come check us out.
Yep. I think that's it. You said we're going to call this I Want to Dance on the Concrete?
I want to
I
dance.
think that's good. That's good.
Yep.
All right, y'all. See you next week.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.